but I can observe it because I can feel it. My ability to feel is one of my observable senses. So I can clearly feel the strength of these fields. Just like if I flip this over 180 degrees, I can feel the push. I can feel these two magnets pushing off each other. If I flip it again, I can feel them pulling on each other. If I let go, you can see it. This is what we are observing. This is how gravitation is being. This is basically the closest thing to understanding gravity that you're going to be able to get with the material aspects of our universe. You can argue all day that electromagnetism is not gravity, but what you can't argue is that force of attraction that you observe and electromagnetism is not somehow the same abiding laws of force of attraction that will apply to gravitation as you see it. Just like that magnet will literally fly through the air. In opposition to gravitation. That in itself says a lot, that the magnet will not even fall. It will just go straight to the electromagnetic attraction. The reason why is because the electromagnetic attraction and gravitational attraction are different. That's why gravity is described as mass attraction, because the gravitation that is acting on this magnet and this magnet is constant. So the magnet fell, but it moved on the y-axis faster than it moved on the z-axis. So it attached to the magnet that has been supported by my hand, which has been supported by my body, which has been supported by the surface of the ground or the surface of the earth. And that's what you're seeing. It's as clear as I can get. It's pretty self-evident. The behaviors are there. So I'm sorry that I can't give you a mechanism to explain how gravity works. I'm sorry that I cannot give you a mechanism to describe exactly how the force of attraction works. But what I can do is I can show you clearly the force of attraction and the force of repulsion. And if you are a scientist, or if you want to inspire to be a scientist, and if you want to be inspired to have a scientific method of thinking and analyzing and understanding using logic and reasoning and observation, then you have to accept what nature shows you. I could do a parlor trick. I could do some trickery, and I could distort the information in some way to coerce you into believing that what you're seeing is true. But that would be a lie, and I haven't done that. I'm not trying to mislead you in any way. I'm showing you exactly what nature is showing me. The only thing that I would hope is that you would accept the information, because before you can understand, all knowledge is built upon a foundation of itself. Every principle builds on top of itself. That's the reason why one principle stands on the other principle. That's where ego comes in, because if you have a false value and you build another value on top of that false value, once you change this false value, this false value will influence this value, and you have to restructure your thinking. And it creates an uncomfortable position in your mind, because I don't want to go into that, but you just have to be able to accept what you see and observe it. And you have to use science to be able to truly accept what you see and truly be able to recognize and accept your observations of your universe, because you are a living being in your universe. It's pretty much, I don't know how else to put it now. This is probably getting pretty drawn out, so I think I'm gonna just leave the gravitation is not a pull. I'm sorry, gravitation is not a push, but a pull theory. But on that, I'm gonna just leave it there, because I think I have clearly shown what attraction looks like. The goal was to show you what attraction looks like. This is a force of repulsion. This is a force of repulsion. This is a force of attraction. In fact, I have if I can find it in time on the internet, I'm gonna look in my computer online real quick, because I wrote out a description of attraction and repulsion, and I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to show you the observation, and then we will go from there. So, attraction, as I have described it, is an observable force interaction that causes a potential mass, and it doesn't have to be a potential mass, that causes the potential to become kinetic with the momentum and geometric orientation that will vector toward the magnitudinal source. And then repulsion is is an observable force interaction that causes a potential mass, doesn't have to be a potential mass, to become kinetic with a momentum and geometric orientation that vectors away from a magnitudinal force. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this up with this last bit of information. Okay, a force of attraction. That's the force of attraction. What do we have? We have a potential magnitude. This is the potential magnitude. This is the geometry between these is the vector. The vector is the motion and the acceleration. So if my statement is correct, what you should be able to see is the magnet that is stationary, because stationary equals potential in this experiment, move toward the magnet that is moving. The reason why the magnet that is moving has to be moving is because, as you can see, that there's no force interaction. I can't show you a force interaction without being a catalyst for a force interaction. That's the basis of the experiment. I'm going to use my hands to move the two magnets into an alignment where their magnitude will be great enough to create a vector that will show you what attraction looks like. And that's what I'm going to do when I slide this magnet toward the other one. It's going to show you a vector toward the potential mass, because my influence from my finger is only affecting this magnet. It's not affecting that magnet. The influence from the magnitude and influence from this magnet is going to affect this magnet, not the motion of my finger into the magnet, the actual force between them. The inverse rule states that the magnitude and the force between the two magnets is going to be inversely proportional to the distance between them. As this magnet gets closer to this magnet, the force between them will increase, and as it increases, the force will overcome the potential energy of this magnet and force it to become kinetic. That's what I'm going to show you, and this is going to be attraction. Now, we're going to flip this magnet 180 degrees, and I'm going to show you repulsion. Propulsion should work in the same direction, and it's always about orientation. It always comes down to orientation. Notice how, as it gets close enough, it moves, it moves, it moves, it moves. This is what, if gravity was a push, understand, if gravity was a push, we would be thrown off the surface, because this is the center of the earth. This is the force, this is the magnitudinal force. This is the direction of the magnitudinal force. So, as you can see, there is no attraction. There is no moving toward the surface. This is what we see. This is what gravity is described as. So, I'm gonna put this experiment to rest. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of my 2 cents. And as always, my name is Paul Emerson. And have a nice afternoon.